Funny how.
DingoTalk. I am Carlo Guadagnino. My guest today is going to be head men's basketball coach at Bethany College, Nick Hager. I'm going to give him a bottle of Turner's tea, and we're going to have a conversation. So enjoy it, Chuckleheads. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, too, on the YouTube page. What's going on, Chuckleheads? As I said in my intro, we're going to be here with Coach Hager. Nick, thank you for being on. Absolutely. Let me do this the right way this time, because I've forgotten a couple times. Here's your bottle of Turner's.
Oh, perfect. If I crack this open.
Absolutely. And we're going to do the same thing as we always do. I'm going to talk to you on this first segment about who you were senior year at Franklin area high school, correct? Franklin,
yes. Yep.
Not Franklin County, but Franklin area.
Franklin area, yep, you got it.
And then Juniata and a little bit there's an Auburn story in there.
Auburn,
and
yep.
So before we go any further, we're going to do my pitch for Chambers, because
absolutely.
Gotta love the Harry and them. So again, if you're in the Chambers area, especially today watching this, or you're on your way watching this, today's special is going to be the chicken sandwich, or grilled chicken that Harry has. You still can get the breakfast sandwich, the biscuits and gravy, the cold cuts, and all the other things that Harry can tell you about, but I don't have them memorized because I haven't been doing it very long. So, but that's what we got. So make sure you stop in and see Harry and tell him that Coach Hager sent you. That's what we're going to go with. So, Coach, without further ado, so Franklin area, your senior year, obviously a basketball player.
Yep.
But were you a football player in the fall? Were you a baseball player or a track guy? Or?
No, so I played baseball up until my junior year, and then I just focused on basketball. So it's funny, like I actually think I was better at baseball than basketball. But
what position of baseball?
Third base.
So not like Coach Sampson, you weren't in the outfield or pitching.
I played the outfield a little bit, but we had some really good teams. When I was younger, our Little League team was one game away from Little League World Series. But then that same group, played together all through high school and everything. A couple guys went D1, the year ahead of me. So we had some good teams, had some really good teams, really good players, and good coaches too. So, but I was third base and maybe a little bit outfield when needed. But yes,
not off the top of your head, you're not going to remember the batting average.
No, I don't.
Just so you know, Coach Sampson batted 330.
330, yeah.
330.
I saw that. That's
I'm
impressive.
Still thinking maybe we could get him a pinch runner or something, as long as he can get the first base.
You got to get him up to the plate somehow. I think he could do some damage up there.
As a DH, I just think it would be maybe in some exhibition games.
His grounder's okay, but he's going to go up and hit home runs. So we'll take that.
He's kind of like the Barry Bonds aspect. You just want him to go up there and swing the bat.
Right.
Just swing the bat.
Absolutely.
All right, so because again, that's out of the Whippeal. So Franklin area, you're talking Oil City, Titusville, Meadville, not where we talked about earlier, Tidiu, Tionesta, which is...
No, actually Warren, though, was in our conference. So there were 5 schools, then it was a TCAC, I think. Now it's Region 5, and it kind of changes every so many years. But there are only 5 schools in our conference. Yeah, us, Oil City, Meadville, Titusville, and Warren. So, you only have 8 conference games, and you play 22 on a schedule. So that opens up a lot of schools, a lot of games for a non-conference. So,
now, what was the travel like for you for the high school experience? You're coming down playing Whippeal teams, playing Erie schools?
Yeah, we played some tournaments down towards Pittsburgh. We'd go out. We had a home and home every year with Altoona and State College. So one year we'd play Altoona at home, then we'd go out to State College, and then vice versa the following year. So, and we go up to New York for some Christmas tournaments. I remember one year. So, and then actually one year my junior year, we played a team over in Ohio, St. Vincent St. Mary's. They had a
pretty famous guy,
pretty good player at that time. A couple good players. So.
It was 5 of them that were
there were
pretty good. 4 of them went to Akron, and one of them, I think he's had a pretty good career.
He's had a pretty good career. I think he's still playing somewhere.
Something like that. It might be that number there.
Actually, it is that number there. Yeah.
A couple other different numbers in his career, but I think that's the one he's wearing now.
Yes.
Purple and gold.
Purple and gold, yep. You got it. Are you a Lakers fan?
No, I'm a Mustang fan.
Oh, okay.
The Plum Mustangs are purple and gold, but they're not the Lakers. So. So as your junior year, I'm assuming through high school you played a little bit of AAU ball.
Actually, no. AAU was not what it is today. AAU I think is taken off. I mean, especially in the last 10 years. So many tournaments. I know as a college coach, there's a tournament you go to every weekend. Not at the moment because of what's going on, but.
And it almost does it. So you're going through a recruitment as a senior, junior into a senior, where you're purely based on everything Franklin area.
Yep.
You guys might have had, I'm assuming, a summer travel.
We had team camps and everything. That's one thing. I played for my dad, and he coached for I think a total of 38 years in high school, and we had a pretty good coach too.
Yeah,
he was. No, I'm kidding.
I remember when you first got here. There was
he's won a few games and state championship in there too. But we had a pretty good summer mapped out for us, and that was I think the biggest thing with us. We went to all these team camps as a team, and whether it be you're an 8th grader going into 9th grade or you're a junior becoming a senior, like you're going and playing. All these good teams, whether it be up in Erie, over in Ohio, down in Pittsburgh. I mean, you're playing a lot of high-level talent, year round. So it's definitely beneficial for us. I mean, I credit all the success we had as a high school program to what we did in the off season.
Now, your brother is a coach, correct?
Yeah, yep. He's coaching Regis College up outside of Boston.
So this is we're gonna do the whole same thing that everybody else has done. There's a whole background of this coaching thing.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So, just so we can get it out of the way for everybody.
Right.
So you're as a senior, what was the recruitment process for you like? I mean, you ended up at Juniata, but were there other schools interested? Were there offers? And
there was a little bit of interest early on. Some like mid-major D1s early on, and those kind of fell off, and I really kind of felt my niche at Division III. Because I think the coaches at that level, work extremely hard, and it's kind of nice to not have a recruiting calendar. You can go recruit as much as you want. So creating those relationships with those coaches, phone calls, they come to games and everything. That was always always something to look forward to.
So there's no as a Division III coach, there's no calendar for when you can start.
Right.
Obviously you're not going after a freshman in high school.
No,
there's the parameters that are normal.
You could go to summer, like if there's a fall league or a summer league going on right now, and there could be a dead period for Division I, we could still go.
Okay.
So it's really who works the hardest and who wants to
get out there.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
you end up at Juniata.
Yep, end up at Juniata.
A pretty not a bad career for you there. Defensive minded guy, but I think you averaged 7.3 points a game, 3.5 assists, couple steals. Yeah, it's part of this. I can't come up here and just look good, which I don't do. I got a face for radio, but at the time. You pointed out to me that we're going to talk, I'm assuming when we get to your coaching part of Juniata, there was a guy that kind of maybe bumped you down this list, but at the time, some of the records that I saw, you were 3rd all-time in steals.
That sounds, pretty accurate.
So I played you in noon hoops once, and
That's right.
It was because I told you who my coach was growing up. I think I got a little bit of an experience of how defenses played.
Yes, your Coach McConnell is he's a legend for sure. So that's
So speaking of which, before we go any further, if there's an opening in noon hoops, I work 3 to 11 at night, so noon would be a good time. Maybe I could work off some of the other activities that I do. And
I only got to play a little bit this year because I try not to. Don't really play too much during the season, but I played a couple times after our season was over. But then, of course, went on spring break, and then
I seen it's very. There seems to be a little bit of Twitter chatter, and it's
you know
very.
what? Like
There's a lot of
yeah.
aggression.
Yeah, there was I think a situation that was thrown out there. You know, who would win between these teams, and I also picked on the losing team. So I don't know if I don't know. We'll see when we get back.
We'll see
when we get back in the fall. So, but
so I moved up at Juniata.
Up at Juniata, it was a great experience there. And then going into the coaching aspect, like I still talk to a lot of guys that I played with then.
Mm-hmm.
We're in group chats and everything, and still try to see each other every once in a while. But the relationships there were great. Not only with teammates, but other students and then the coaching staff too. And actually, this past weekend I went and was able to see my coach that I played for and coached with, Pearl, and his family. So it was good to reconnect a little bit. But it was a great career. Had some good teams. Had a lot of good players. And you mentioned McConnell. I played with his nephew Tommy for 3 years.
Whose dad coaches at IUP.
Yep, IUP women's team, and
I feel like there's no way to go through Pennsylvania without finding somewhere
right.
the McConnells have some kind of coaching
definitely
thing going on. I mean,
it was a great experience, and then from there I graduated and went to Auburn.
So let's talk about that. How did you end up at Auburn?
So I was contemplating going right into coaching and not go to grad school. Applied for a job up in Saratoga Springs at Skidmore College. Then also the Juniata assistant position was open after that year because my brother, who we just spoke about, the fall of my senior year, he got hired at Regis.
Okay.
So that was the fall of 2006. So he's been the head coach since 2006 up at Regis. So that kind of left that assistant position open where a teammate of mine who was in his fifth year, he was graduating in the education area. So he stepped in as assistant, and then he went to become a teacher after that. So that position came open after my senior year. I didn't know how I'd feel about coaching some teammates that I just, with for the past 3 years, and I know Sanson did it.
Jesus, the guy was a sophomore coaching people
So that's, and then I only applied to one grad school, applied to Auburn, got in, I think I found out like mid-July, and I was supposed to be there August 5th. So it was a quick turnaround, but, a good family friend was a senior administrator down there. So he helped me out and got me hooked up with the compliance department, which was, the whole other side of athletics.
Now you're on the administrative side. You're leaving the player side and do my job, come to practice.
Yes. Yeah.
And now you're on not just the X's and O's, but
right. You're seeing what goes on the other 22 hours of the day. So outside of practice, but it was a great experience to see that other side of it and to kind of see the machine that Auburn was, big time SEC, especially football at the time with Tommy Tuberville was at, he was a few years from retiring, but it was a great experience. And then basketball coaches at the time, Jeff Lebo, a Carlisle PA guy, they had some good teams, and it was great to be around that kind of environment and just kind of see that big time D1 experience. So
you get your master's from Auburn in education?
It's higher education and then sports administration.
So higher education gives you you could be a principal and such like that if you wanted to do the high school side?
Could go high school, could go college as well.
You could be not the president though.
No, nowadays I don't know. Because even to become a head coach, probably 8 to 10 years ago, most people had to have their masters, and now, I'm not sure if that's so much as being looked at as important.
Now, do you see that as a maybe the person with the bachelor's degree that, and I'm going to use a former player, Delonte Joyce, who I think is a phenomenal basketball mind.
Yes, yep.
He was not PAC player of the year if I were.
I believe it was senior year, yeah. And then I think it was first team his junior year.
So
he really took off.
And there was a guy at St. Vincent that was pretty good too. That they were pretty much the two. I can't. I can see.
Yeah, and then we'll get into it later. But I was the assistant at Juniata whenever, because we play St. Vincent every year, and played against it. It was a good team. So, yeah, a couple other names in there, Klimchok, and yeah, they had some guys.
There were some guys on your first team.
Yeah.
That I could definitely see with a bachelor's degree going to a high school or even a smaller college and getting their teeth wet in coaching.
Absolutely.
Without necessarily having a master's. Not only were they working towards it,
right,
but there was definitely guys with the basketball IQ to see the game.
Right, definitely.
So you're at Auburn. You finish up there 2 years.
Yeah.
Get the master's degrees finalized.
Yep.
Were you offered to come back, and you came back to Juniata, or how did that?
So it kind of happened pretty quick. That spring semester of 2009, I was really, honestly, probably, I was really closer than I realized, of just going on and continuing to get my PhD at Auburn. So I was really thinking about going into the compliance side of athletics.
And that's what Megan deals with a lot, right?
Yeah, I know. I think she helps Courtney. Courtney's our compliance coordinator for the department. So it's like all the forms and make sure you're following NCAA regulations and everything. But, yeah, so I was thinking about going into that side of it because the guy I worked for at Auburn, Rich McGlynn, he was Eastern PA, Jersey guy, good guy, Penn State fan and everything. But so we're kind of the Northerners, down south. But
Yankees, I think.
Yes, Yankees quite a bit. So, but yeah, then I just thought I miss hoops, so I want to get back into it, and so that time I actually coached high school basketball for 1 year. Coached with my dad back at Franklin. So during that time I was JV coach and learned from him. Kind of got back into it a little bit, because I missed being at practice. I'd go to the Auburn men's basketball practices a lot. I just missed being on the floor with the guys and everything. So then from then on, I was there at Franklin for a year, and timing's everything. Where my roommate from Juniata, he was the assistant at Juniata at the time. He took a teaching job at State College, so that position opened up. It was
so kind of again, you're graduating as a senior from Juniata. Yep. Job opens up.
Yep.
Take a different opportunity.
Yep.
Come back, finish your master's. Now you're a year as a head JV coach and assistant high school varsity coach.
Yep.
And again, timing. Door opens up this time.
Yeah. This time back at the alma mater. So it was great. Everyone that I played with, they had graduated already, so there was no overlap, which would have been handled all right, but just to kind of avoid that. But I was there at Juniata for 5 years, and coached a lot of really good players, learned a lot,
and some run-ins down this way, right? There was an ACAC tournament game.
ACAC tournament game. It was I think it was 2013-14. Bethany was hosting the ECACs, the semifinals and finals that year, and we ended up playing Bethany in the semifinals. Beat Bethany.
That's not a slouch to say that, because that was a very, very good, dynamic Bethany team. I think we talked about it before. It was a 22 win.
Yeah, it was 20 plus win team. We had 7 seniors that year at Juniata.
Shooters, you can call them what they were.
The one kid, he had a stint at Juniata as an assistant. Now he's the head coach at State College, Brian Shawley. His junior year, he was top 5 in the nation, all divisions, for three-point percentage and three-pointers made. Made 99 threes and shot almost 50% from 3.
I can attest to being at that game as a fan.
Yeah.
I was part of the broadcasting side of it, but I was doing the behind the scenes.
Yep.
And I can tell you that there was a point at halftime where there was a lot of us that were working behind the scenes, but we didn't have to be on camera, that were looking at each other going, it's not that Bethany did anything wrong that game.
Nah,
it was just you guys didn't apparently when the lights came on in the gym, you guys.
It's funny looking back on it, because in the conference that we were in at Juniata, we used a different basketball. We used the Rock.
Okay.
That was our conference basketball. Then we get here, we used the Solution, which all of our guys at that time loved the Solution. more than the Rock. The Rock was good, but I mean, then it was just like a feel of the ball, like.
And it was just, I mean, I just remember it was early on in the game that the ball movement, which when you first got here and I was working more, not just being up in the rafters and watching the games, but I was down on the floor. It was something you brought here, a lot of ball movement.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything for my questions in the second side, but to me it looks like it's a very motion oriented.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Which is the basics. I mean, again, I'm just trying.
Your background, everything. I think you know motion.
But that was a very good Bethany team that defensively was very good that year.
Right.
I believe they might have. I don't know if it's that. Is it that year that they win a? There was an NCAA award that I think is up there in the plaques for.
Yeah.
There was a defense. I want to say, was it steals?
Steals. I think it was that year. If not, maybe the year after.
Which is Delonte. You're in that early Delonte. You're talking. It was 11. I'm trying to think of some of the guys who were on the team. I feel bad.
Antonio Rudolph was a freshman that year.
So Delonte's probably a sophomore then.
I think Delonte's a junior. Delonte was 2 years ahead of Tone.
Okay.
So I had Tone for 2 years, which Tone was. He's a fun guy to coach, great kid.
He's a phenomenal person.
Yeah.
I mean, and Delonte was too. Delonte was a guy, and now.
Yeah, we were talking off camera. I mean, Delonte helped me my first year.
And he's got his coaching. He's got his. He does privately. He does private coaching. He's coaching with Coach former Bethany coach, Coach Sachs down there at Chesapeake. He played overseas a little bit. I mean, Delonte was a player and a guy that improved every day.
Yep.
It wasn't. So through Juniata, you get to. We talked about your Bethany's, your experiences with Bethany, which hint, we're getting towards the end of the first segment. But so you're in the 5th year.
Just finished up my 5th year at Juniata.
As an assistant?
Yep, as an assistant there.
And I'm assuming that somebody, well, let's do it this way. Did somebody reach out to you about this job, or was it
someone did. It was an alum that played here in the early 2000s. Reached out and said, hey, this job's opening up. You need to put your name in for it. And get your stuff together because I think you got a really good shot at it. So.
And right there is where I'm going to pause you. This is Dingo Talk. I am Carlo Guadagnino. Alongside me, head men's basketball coach at Bethany College, Nick Hager. We'll be right back.
Last night, but did it all day. Yeah, a lot of murk caught me in a hard way. But got a sticky and I keep it at my dog's place. Girl, I left you love it, magic, not all shade. Still going back.
To my little friend.